The legacy of Charles Manson. Was he right about society? In today's video, we take a closer look at one of history's most disturbing figures, Charles Manson. Not to romanticize his actions, but to examine a deeper question. Did Manson recognize cracks in society that have only widened over time? Manson's crimes were horrific, but his worldview, particularly his ideas about race, chaos, and social collapse, may have been distorted. Yet they offer unsettling parallels to our current reality. This isn't about excusing Manson, it's about understanding what he saw and why it still matters today. Let's start with fragmentation, a psychological concept that helps explain why people today may be more susceptible to manipulation and control. In psychology, fragmentation refers to a break in a person's sense of identity or coherence, often resulting from emotional overload, contradictory messages, and constant change. Fragmentation is something we all experience today, particularly on social media. The constant bombardment of emotions, one moment you're angry, the next laughing, then fearful, creates cognitive dissonance. The mind struggles to form a clear, consistent worldview. This fragmented state leaves us vulnerable to manipulation and easier to influence. Media and social media thrive on this fragmentation. By showing you a rapid stream of contradictory content, they keep you in a constant state of psychological arousal. This instability leads to emotional fatigue, making it easier to be manipulated or nudged towards certain beliefs or behaviors. Manson was no stranger to this kind of emotional turbulence. He emerged in the late 1960s, a time of political and social upheaval. Racial tensions were high. The Vietnam War had shattered faith in government, and a counterculture was pushing for radical change. Manson understood this psychic instability and saw an opportunity to exploit it. Through his cult, Manson used psychological manipulation to break down the identities of his followers. He offered them a sense of meaning in a fractured world. He used love bombing, contradiction, and emotional dependency to bind them to his vision. Manson's doctrine, called Helter Skelter, was a warped belief in an impending race war which he thought would lead to the collapse of society. He believed that through chaos and violence he would rise to power. Today, while race wars haven't materialized in the way Manson imagined, the fear, division, and chaos he obsessed over are very real. Racial tensions, political polarization, and cultural divisions are increasingly prominent in the U.S. and around the world. Issues like immigration, identity politics, and economic inequality continue to fuel debates and resentments. The psychological fracturing that Manson warned about has taken root in many ways, though not in the violent, overt manner he predicted. Some researchers have raised another possibility. Manson's relationship with the state might have been more complicated than the public realized. Manson spent time in prison during a period when the government's MKUltra program was experimenting with mind control and LSD. Could Manson have been a subject of psychological experimentation? Was he a pawn in a larger, shadowy operation? While we don't have definitive proof, some journalists, like Tom O'Neill, have uncovered inconsistencies that suggest Manson's story is still full of unanswered questions. So, what can we learn from Charles Manson today? Manson's story isn't just about one deranged individual, it's about the psychological mechanisms that can be exploited in a fractured society. He understood that people who feel disconnected, fearful, and emotionally overwhelmed are ripe for influence. In our world today, we face the same psychological fracturing that Manson observed. Media, politics, and digital culture keep us in a state of emotional disarray. As individuals, how do we stay whole in a world designed to fracture us? How do we resist the forces that seek to manipulate us for control or profit? Perhaps the lesson here isn't in Manson's madness, but in the psychological tools of control he unwittingly revealed. As we continue to navigate this age of media manipulation and cultural fragmentation, it's up to us to stay aware, grounded, and vigilant in a world that's constantly trying to pull us apart. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.